we headed up to Norvik. First time I ever had that happen, there was an Arctic tern. And just like he had never seen a human being back, just
You and I were eating, we were eating those rock potatoes.
I had some seed potato and I told her, I says, I was getting hungry, I think I'm gonna peel one of those seed potatoes and eat it. As soon as I put it up in my hand like that, that crazy Arctic tern come down and landed in my hand and tried to take it away from me. So I thought, well, you're that hungry, I held my hand out there and let him eat it. That was interesting because it was just like he had never seen a human being. He was a hungry bird. Yeah, that time we dumped off the fuel at Norvik and then we went on home. I was gonna make another trip to Summerwick. Used to be interesting, all the things I did up there. The storekeeper up there that one spring didn't have nothing to do. He said, well, Dick, if you want to, you can use my barge. Just go ahead and use it because I could make some money hauling fuel, so that's what I did. I made a number of trips with him hauling these groceries up to Cayena for their store. Now they don't do that anymore. B&R Tug and Barge takes everything up there now. I don't know what happened. Something happened afterwards where they weren't allowed to pick up their own stuff. He was picking up all his own fuel and everything for the store. He'd make a double layer of drums or maybe a triple layer of drums on deck on the barge. He'd haul some big loads of all the winter fuel.
But you know what, Kathleen, I don't know how to start it, because once it's unplugged, I'm not sure what
Don't forget me.
This is the
They talked like they were gonna come right away and get me. Yeah, I hope they finish with
I guess we
it
better
tomorrow.
get going. Taking him.
One more story.
One more story.
I heard that you went from Washington to Alaska in a boat. Did you do that?
All done with your dinner? With your lunch?
Yeah, I heard you were gonna send me back down.
I am. As soon as you got through, I'm gonna call him.
Okay, I'm done. I could've eat some more, but
You can eat all you want.
yeah. If you don't mind it sitting here, I'll chew on it some more after I get back.
It can sit there. I'll tell him not to take it.
Okay,
Okay.
all
And
right.
if you get back and you got fresh food, then you can take your choice. Okay. I'll call him to come get you.
Yeah, that time, that was the summer that they were gonna start the ferry system. So I drove up the highway from Seattle. I had a Plymouth station wagon. I drove into Prince Rupert, BC, and when I got there, then they told me they canceled that out for another summer. So I was stuck there. I had to put my vehicle in storage, and that's when I rode a little skiff all the way from Ketchikan. I mean, from Prince Rupert to Ketchikan.
Oh.
How long did it take you?
Took me 3 days. But I learned a lot on that trip. I learned incoming tide flows north. And if I had known that, I could have been up there a lot sooner. Because when you cross the strait there, just before you get to the lighthouses, the U.S. Coast Guard operates them between Canada and they were watching me with glasses. I wore out 3 pair of oars, and when I was out there not realizing that the current was against me, I couldn't figure out where all the blood was coming from. I was growing so hard, you know, that I was bleeding through my gums and I didn't realize what was happening. It took me a long time to figure out, it was about a day and a half before I figured out what was happening. And then I was watching those tides. Well, I didn't want to be out there in the nighttime. So when it started to get, you know, evening time, well, I'd pull in and I always had to go in through a hole in the rocks to hit the beach. And they had to time the breakers, you know, so I could go in without running into the rocks. Well, that one cove I went into, the first one, I hit the beach. I looked around. I saw those cockerel clams. They were squirting all over. Oh boy, I got something to eat. So I got a pan of salt water and I dug a bunch of them up. I boiled them over a fire and I ate clams that evening. And then the next time when I left, I went into another little cove there on the way up. There was an old abandoned cabin that was all knocked down. Well, when I went in there, I discovered there was a bunch of geese in there. I was crawling up on my stomach to see if I could get close enough that I could hit one of them and have something to eat. And I looked, there was some high bush huckleberries there. So I ended up that evening eating huckleberries. And then when I took off from there the next morning, the last night when I pulled in, I couldn't figure out exactly what I was going to do. I run into another old cabin. Anyway, before it got dark, I went out on the point and sat down because all the ships and tramp boats that go north, they all pull in and stop at Ketchikan to deliver freight and pick up outgoing fish from New England Fish and Ward Cove, and they take the fish south. Well, what I did then, I was sitting out there on the rocks, and all at once I look ahead of me, and here a big porcupine was. Between the salt water and me, he slowly come around. I was thinking, gee, they always talk about porcupine being man's best friend. I thought, well, I'll grab a stick and see if I can kill him so I got something to eat. So I got him, I took him up, I put some forked sticks and got him after I skinned him that I could put him on a fire and roast him. Well, as long as he was hot, he tastes good. But the next morning, I was gonna eat a little bit before I left. When they cool off, I couldn't touch it. It's just like eating pine needles. I couldn't eat a bite of them. And anyway, when I started to cross the strait that time, it was late the next evening. I hit the beach at the end of the road out of Ketchikan there. And I was lucky when I got into Ketchikan that time. I never had to worry about a job or anything. I went into the Teamsters Hall there and I was working all the time I was in Ketchikan. Made enough money to where I could go up to Juneau and made arrangements for my vehicle to stay there. They told me during the winter months when a tug moves back and forth between Prince Rupert, well, they'd be able to pick it up and bring it to Ketchikan and put it on Alaska Steam and send it on up to Juneau. That's what they did. But anyway, I was working for New England Fish and Ward Cove. It kept me busy all day, just on the jitney. They were just trucking fish to the wharf. They were loading them up on all those tramp ships. And man, you eat good there at the cannery. Anything you wanted to eat all day long, you just help yourself. Yeah, I enjoyed that. That was quite a trip. You know, I was over the highway before we had that Alcan Highway going through to the west coast. And I've seen all the construction ever since they started that. At one place there they call Hell's Gate Canyon. They blasted that out, I don't know how many times, and it kept all going down on the railroads there, and they had to keep unburying the railroad all the time. But my first trip up through there with all that sharp rock, I don't know how many flat tires I had, but I had lots of flat tires. Really sharp rock. I wanted to get back up to Alaska so bad that I just forced myself to come up. That one trip when I drove all the way up, that was a bum trip because I had troubles. That's when I learned that gas in Canada has got a lot more sulfur in it
Oh, yeah.
than what had happened. I burned the porcelain out of my spark plugs. It go whoom! It went off right through the hood. And I didn't know what was causing it, and I had to be towed into Whitehorse at one time. The mechanic in there told me what was going on. He says those US plugs won't take what the Canadian plugs do. They have special plugs for that sulfur fuel. And I had to replace them, and then I was okay. But the worst part of it is when I broke down, I parked my car beside the road, and a bunch of those Indians came along, and they just stripped my car, all the tires, everything. And you think I didn't have a heck of a time trying to get my vehicle back. That's what they were doing to a lot of the people that were coming up from the lower 48. You didn't leave nothing along the road, or you better leave a guard there. Yeah, they just take everything. Boy, there's some beautiful places there through Canada in there though. I used to like to stop there at the hot springs where you come in the entrance of the park. The mountains touch one another and you drive underneath the rocks. Just as you get in there, there's a park. And it's Radium Hot Springs, man, nice, clean water. You go swimming, you're in there a while, well, pretty soon you can climb right in behind the wall, in behind the rocks, feel that water bubbling up from underneath through the rocks. Then they got what they call the cave-in basin. If you go in there, that's all sulfur water. They tell you to drink a lot of it, but I can't. It's like drinking rotten eggs.
Yeah.
Keep burping. That's at Banff National Park where that is. There's a lot of pretty country there. When I first got up there is when I was working for Leslie Sage and his brother Stanley out of Seattle. They were what you considered dual citizens. They could either live in the US or Canada. That one summer when I was working construction with them, well, they said, you know, what are you gonna do while we're gone? And I says, I don't know. A couple days later, he come to me, he says, well, Dick, he says, my wife and I were talking it over, how do you like to go on a vacation with us? Man, I jumped at it. When I went up that time, they said, well, you're white, you're US, you're not supposed to be working in Canada, you know. But the minute I got up there, their farm, his wife's dad just put me right to work. They needed me. So all the time I was up there, I was working on a thrashing crew. At night, right along the river there, what's the matter with me? I'm trying to think of the name of that river.
I'm sorry?
Anyway, lots of wolves.
Did you say something?
I'd climb into the fresh straw. Didn't need no blankets or nothing. You just keep warm there. And those doggone wolves would be howling all night. They tell me, well, you be careful what you eat. You know, don't eat too much bear meat, don't too much honey or any of our wild foods up here, Saskatoon berries, or all of them, or you're gonna break out with boils. I didn't know whether to believe that or not, but that's exactly what happened. Next thing I know, I had a big one on my neck and another one down on my neck. I couldn't even turn my head. Too rich of food. See, all their grain is hard wheat too. When they make bread, it's all hard wheat bread. Boy, that's good bread though. Wow. Yeah. I talked too much. Those guys could have been done with me down there and had me back up here. No, her and I up Cayena, we had a lot of experiences up there too. I've been out on a lot of search and rescue trips, and a lot of things happen. Probably sit down and write, I don't know how many books.
Yeah, I bet.
She said 1 5 or before 5.
You guys are gonna try to go bingo again.
I don't know.
You give up last night. You know what she did last night? She tell you?
Other day,
She won a $4,000 coat.
oh, it's a fur coat.
Oh, fur?
The trouble of it is, she's gonna have to go into Arctic fur or one of
But
them.
it's kind
Have
of
an
tight for me,
adjustment.
right?
It's a little bit too small for her.
Great scary.
Let's go bingo.
All they did was give a ticket, free ticket.
Oh, yeah. So it didn't even cost you anything, huh? Oh, that's the best kind.
$4,400 per coat.
That's a good.
I was hoping she might get something so they could go shopping.
No luck last night, no luck.